Hey there, apologize. First of all, apologize for my voice. Got a little throat issue. Um, a lot of things have happened since I shot the last video, and what I have done on the frame. Actually, let me show you here. Sorry, camera action. So this is the front half of the frame, and what I have done to this, I have basically sanded it with 600 very carefully, mainly around the areas where there was primer, and I have then sanded it with 1200 and 1500 just to clean it, avoiding the decals. Obviously I want this to look as original as I possibly can, so patina and all will be left. So that was the first step, and then also already applied on all the rusty areas, or everything that's scratched deeply and had rust that wasn't coming away easily by sanding, has been treated with rust converter. Let me show you the product that I'm using here. Malaysia. Okay, that's where I bought it, in Malaysia. It works just like any other rust converter. So you put it on, it comes a bit purple, and after a while it goes black. So here's the result, more or less. Let's see, where else do we see some rust here? Okay. So after that, okay, here's a little bit of an exception on the actual braking plate, brake mounting plate. I have completely taken away the paint, so you can see very nicely, made in Germany, patent pending, and it's by Esge, ESGE, which also makes ski bindings. If you're familiar, at least in my use some 40 years ago, Esge was one of the best ski bindings you could buy. And here's a license, as in TSCH. We cannot, unfortunately, know what that would have been. So definitely made in Germany, and the license. So I don't know who actually was the original designer of this frame, or the company who designed this frame. It's a very, very clever design. This lasted for decades all over Europe. Maybe I'm thinking the Dutch would have invented the folding bike. I'm not sure. I'm just talking because I've seen a lot of Dutch people going on holiday all the way down to Italy and bringing some of these folding bikes. They were slightly different. So this is definitely a German design, where you would, or a German modified design, you have a massive one singular main tube that curves down as low as the bottom brackets, so it's really good for stepping through. So that's especially interesting for smaller people, shorter legs, children, older people. It's very convenient. Anyway, you need one connection between the rear triangle that holds the wheel, the bottom bracket, and then you want the rear part relatively short, and this front part as well. So this folds down underneath like so. One is folded. Can you see? Right. Anyway, so let's go back to the finish. There is obviously a very mixed portion of situations here. This would be where the water would sit and drip off, and that's why it's very rusty here. Frame numbers definitely still very nicely visible. We do have original color. We have branding. Record is the brand. There's some more information. At least insert your handlebars 10 centimeters in the fork shaft and apply force when you tighten it nicely. So record. I'm going to leave these decals stickers, as scruffy as they are. I might chip away a little bit of the flakes so that I'm not losing more than what's already damaged. So this part here is one step ahead of that one. This one had 600 and 1200 and 1500 just to clean it. Then it had rust converter. So I've done this morning, so this is drying till tomorrow. This one I did the same procedure, 600 grit, 1200 grit, and then I applied the rust converter in all the areas where it's rusty, and which is many. And then I have straightened the fallout ends a little bit and filed them just a touch. They're not going to be perfect. I'm glad they're intact. I'm glad they're structurally there. So what I've done, meanwhile, since the rust converter is dry, I sanded over it to basically take it away from the areas where you don't need rust converter because it makes it look dirty. And I have then sanded it with 1200, 1500, 2000. It goes relatively quick, and now I'm starting to polish. So I have already polished a tiny little bit right there, and I'm using T-Cut, which in my experience is the best. And if you're doing bicycles, a bottle like that lasts you for years. Now I'm going to let you follow along a little bit how I do this. Pardon me.